Hello everyone, my name is Simon Powers and this is Classical Guitar Corner. Now, this style of video where I'm just talking to you with the camera, I do this regularly inside Classical Guitar Corner Academy for the members of the Academy, but I very rarely do it to the public. But here it is. I started these out by telling myself I was going to record a video unedited so that I could just get these things done, because contrary to what you might think, even though I have a YouTube channel and I work online, not actually a huge fan of putting myself out there. I'm a relatively, like many classical guitarists are, I'm a bit of an introvert, and I have to push myself, especially to push myself out onto public platforms like YouTube. But it's been a while since I put a video out, and I thought I would do one. So today sort of starts with a bit of an apology, really. It's sort of my life learning has taken quite a sharp left turn in the last 6 months with the birth of my son. His name is Julian, and although many of you might be thinking, aha, you named him after Julian Bream, that's not the case. It's a nice coincidence. We just like the name Julian. And my life lesson from that has been about time management. And I suppose the apology comes from, many years ago, 10 plus years ago, I had a podcast episode called What Really, Really Matters, or something like that. And in that podcast, I espoused this idea that we all have time during the day and we do spend a lot of it doing things perhaps we're unaware of, like scrolling social media, or basically the concept that if we want to have time to practice, we can make it. And the idea itself still has some merit. However, I think I worded it very poorly at the time. And I received some pretty vicious emails from that, which I won't go into here. But some words were said from people. And I guess I wanted to apologize to some people that, no one understands everybody else's life experience. But at that time, I wasn't single, I would have been with Evita, my now wife, but I didn't have a child, and I didn't have the responsibilities that I have now. And so I now have more of an understanding of the challenges that a lot of the students at the CGC Academy face in terms of time, finding time to practice, all the things that can get in the way. And I only have one child. I also had a major life experience over the last several years with cancer, as many of you know. And some people still email in and say, where did your hair go? Why are you shaving your head now? Well, it's not really by choice. The chemotherapy had its way with me, and it never really grew back properly. So I just keep it short now. And, both of these experiences has helped me a lot as a teacher. One, with the health issues, when I came out of cancer, I couldn't actually play guitar. I couldn't hold down a barre, couldn't play with a third and fourth finger. My muscles had all deteriorated, but also just was incredibly weak. I had something called peripheral neuropathy, where I had numbness in my hands and feet, and still do to a certain extent. Thankfully, a lot of that has come back. But that, plus now having a child, has really taught me a lot about empathy, about understanding other people's experiences, and I hope it's made me a better teacher. One of the challenges with online learning is you put your ideas out there, and some of these ideas are 10, 15 years old now, and they are a product of their time, and I can't really go back and change it. I think that podcast, it's not worth digging for it, because I think I actually took it down. One of the very few pieces of content I took down over the years, because I just found it flustered people too much, and my wording was just poor. So anyway, that's a roundabout way of saying an apology. And then, of course, this topic was really triggered by Crystal, who in the forum at CGC Academy was asking the other members about how they find practice time when they're time poor. How do they use their time if they're time poor? She has a large commute, or a long commute, should I say, and she was really struggling to find time. And there were many answers kindly given from the other members about how they deal with time constraints, and people who are parents to multiple children or have a job, big commutes, etc. I can say for me, because I'm now going through this, I have become hyper structured with my days. I used to be kind of a workaholic. That meant I worked all the time into 2, 3 a.m. regularly back in New York. And because of that, I could work, but I didn't always have to be very productive. I could spend the time, but that time wasn't necessarily structured or focused or particularly productive. Now, I really am like a commuter. I come into the city, I've rented this space. It's coincidentally CGC Colors. And I work 8 till 5, 9 to 5, and I get my work done. I found myself actually more productive, but I still struggle with practice. I'm dealing with things like technology issues, creating the new curriculum for the Cornerstone method, recording videos, etc., etc. Some are more enjoyable than others, but tasks, that is, not the videos. And practice seems to really get pushed to the wayside. So the way that I've been dealing with it of late, because I do have a recital coming up in a month. I'm playing in Adelaide in South Australia at the end of May. Perhaps if you're in that area, you could email me and I can give you the details. But it's one of those things, I've got it in the back of my mind. I know it's coming up, but I'm desperately in need to dedicate time to practice. So what I do to really either make myself feel better or actually become more productive is I first and foremost write things down. I'll often suffer from coming into the office here and then sitting down and sort of just doing something. Whatever comes to my mind first, whatever pops up on the email first, will take my attention there and then. And I'll just get into that, whether or not that's the best use of my time. So the best days that I have, I write down the things that I have to do, and then I prioritize. Like, this is either low-hanging fruit that I can get done quickly and it'll make me feel good and achieve something, or I really know something is important and I've been meaning to take that off the list, and I'm saying, okay, I'll dedicate the whole day to that, or half a day, or what have you. So writing things down, I think taking that little bit of time to plan and prepare is very, very powerful. And then this idea of low-hanging fruit, part of the challenge is it's almost like treating that we have another self that we have to address, like our own inner child. We have to please that part of us. So I find certain things will give me motivation, will encourage the virtuous cycle of motivation, getting something done. So a low-hanging fruit or a quick win or whatever you want to call it, in the guitar practice realm, that might be a 5-minute warm-up routine or a practice routine or a set of scales that you have that you can think, okay, I started that, I finished that. At the very least today, I can say I did that with my practice and I'm moving forward with my playing. More than that, you could have at some point scheduled out, okay, these are the pieces I'm working on in the next few months, and today I'll work on the first phrase in this piece. And just getting that done is really, it's really motivating because it's an achievement. You feel like you did something rather than the pottering around and just noodling and then walking away. Even if you spent half an hour working on something, walking away going, what did I actually achieve? And kind of that can be the opposite of a virtuous cycle where you actually feel negative and think, I'm not very productive, I'm not getting anywhere, and I want to give up. I really believe, as an educator and a leader of this online community at Classical Guitar Corner, one of my jobs is to inspire and enable joy, the enjoyment of the learning process, because without that, there is no fuel to go forward. So I really believe in these quick wins, something that gives you motivation. Then, of course, when we need deep work, we can potentially block off a time. This space, I have to say, after the first 6 months with baby Julian, I was in my home office. I've always worked from home. I love it in many ways, and I was sad to relinquish we live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and the second bedroom is now his. For better or for worse. It was a sad day, also a beautiful day. I felt like I was giving a gift to my new child. I was like, here, you have a room. Something I didn't have for decades, being a music student and then wanting a dedicated room for music. Then I had it, and soon I had to hand it over, but that's life. And I think parenthood will be a lot of that, right? Probably parents out there are nodding, yep. But that meant I actually had to seek out and rent a space in the city. And this has been a real gift because I have to leave my home, go to this space that's dedicated for work. And the space, because it's set up for work because it's really dedicated to that, helps me. I don't procrastinate as much as I used to at home. I don't get distracted by going out to help Evita with something or have lunch and then, get into a conversation and lose a couple of hours just because we got distracted. So obviously we don't all have a office to go to, but if you have a room or even a corner of a room that you can dedicate and set up to say, this is my practice space, it can help you focus and use that time that you've allotted. Perhaps you've said, okay, I've got an hour a day. How am I going to use it? And for those of you who've read the Classical Guitar Handbook, it's a book I finished writing just late last year. This has a lot of material on planning and structure and thinking about how to go about using this time. But I think it's a wonderful topic, and I wanted to start it with an apology, basically acknowledging that I have grown and learned and now experience more life. And the me from 10 years ago was maybe a bit naive. I'm sorry about that. You still didn't have to send the nasty emails, but I'm sorry about the naive approach. But so that's, Crystal, hopefully that's given you some food for thought. And thank you for everybody else in the forum at the Academy who's joined in. A lot of people recommended to start in on the new Cornerstone Grade 2 material, and I think that's a great idea. So I've recently finished the Cornerstone Method Grade 2. Now, the Classical Guitar Corner curriculum's been finished for many years, but the third iteration of it I have called the Cornerstone Method, and it really is far superior than anything I've done. I published the book for Grade 1. The book will eventually come out for Grade 2, but it's in the Academy now. And I've written actually a lot of material. So I thought I would end this video. I might make a small edit so I can get my guitar ready. I'm going to perform for you one of the studies that I wrote that actually is the culmination of all the different techniques that were taught inside of the lessons. If you like this style of video, it's very candid, very casual. I actually do them regularly inside the Academy, but if you like them for the YouTube channel, maybe you can let me know. And I can do them more often if you like. Actually, you know what? I can probably not even edit, and I can just play it for you right here. This is probably another element to, getting practice done, which has to do with this kind of format of video that I'm doing, is that you just have to start. I didn't want to do this video. I will constantly procrastinate about putting things out in the public, whether it be YouTube, sending out an email. It doesn't come that naturally to me, like I said at the beginning. But of course, it's very important to be out and present in the world, and all the work that I put in with the Academy and the Dave puts in, we need to be out there and present and let you know about it so that we can get members joining our Academy. We have this amazing community, but the only way for that community to thrive is to keep it alive, and new fresh ideas and fresh faces coming in make that possible. So if you want to join Classical Guitar Corner Academy, it's a really wonderful place to learn guitar. And this is my study number 13. Excuse me, I'm going to have to press the page turn in the middle of it. So that piece was written with the intent to try and incorporate as many elements as possible that we're taught throughout the new curriculum. So we have elements like melody in a arpeggio texture, and then the reverse arpeggio with the melody on top. There's a barre in there, there's rest stroke. We have staccato, that's one of the techniques I taught throughout. Phrasing, tempo rubato, accents, all of these elements, block chords, rolled chords. These are all elements that were taught throughout the grade. This is the final study. It's actually a little bit on the difficult side, to be honest, in terms of its length. And obviously I played things probably a little bit faster than some students might play it. However, it's all very achievable. You know, a lot of it actually, it's sort of designed to sound more difficult than it is, if that makes sense. Anyway, thanks for your time. Thanks for staying with me. Again, let me know if this is a format that you would enjoy to hear from me more often like this. And if you're interested, come and join me at Classical Guitar Corner Academy. We'd love to have you.